Hello teachers and welcome! Are you looking for some writing activities that you could try out with your iTalki students? Well, say no more, I got you covered. Here are 3 writing activities which you could use with your iTalki students today. So hit that subscribe button and let's jump in. First of all, just like the other activities which I've shared with you on my YouTube channel, these activities have been tested. I have tried these out with dozens of students, and these are the activities which have been met with the most enthusiasm, engagement, and have prompted the most improvement in my students' ability. So let's get started with the very first activity. This activity uses random word generators. I like to use random generators online. Sometimes I use random number generators, word, phrase, or picture generators. But for this activity, we will be using a random word generator. So basically go online, find a random word generator, and then you will instruct your students to generate 20 random words. After that, they will put these words into categories. So this is where the creativity really comes in, because your students will be tasked with creating different categories with these random words, and they could create whichever categories they want, as long as the words are somehow relatable to one another in that category. And they could even put multiple words into different categories. Another thing that you could do is you could give them categories, and then they have to go through, read the words, and write them down into the correct category. So the trick here to improve your students' writing is that they are writing down notes pretty much, and they are also finding a way to categorize how they're organizing their notes. And this skill could be transferred into academic writing, for example. It could be transferred into summarizing. So this could be a great warmer, a great kind of first activity for a lesson that focuses on writing. Okay, activity number 2. This is to write to a number of words, right? When I first started on iTalki, and for the first while being on iTalki, I gave my students writing tasks, and from time to time I would give them a certain amount of time to actually complete the task. That way they would focus a little bit more on the meaning and the communication instead of focusing so much on the form and trying to perfect their grammar and trying to perfect all of their vocabulary. So this could be perfect for teachers whose students are hesitating a lot and taking a very long time to complete tasks. That could be speaking tasks or writing tasks, any kind of production, due to the fact that they are perfectionists and they're trying to make the grammar and all of the forms completely perfect, right? In this case, your students are forced to write something in a certain amount of time. And again, there is a place for form focus and a place for meaning focus, but this is a really good one to just focus on meaning and focus on communication. So in this variation of that activity, this is writing to a number of words. And it's a little bit different than writing in a certain amount of time, because if they have to write in a certain amount of time, they could still be perfectionists and they could still really kind of take their time to do things. And again, there's a time and a place for that. But in this situation, if you're trying to work on their writing fluency, then you really want them to maximize the amount of production that they're doing in this time. So give your students virtually any task to do. They could have to write out a recipe, for example. Maybe they have to describe a picture that they see, and they need to write a certain amount of words. That could be 50 words or 100 words, depending on how long you want them to be working for. And if you want, you could combine a word limit with a time limit, actually, and you could bring both of them together. You could say your task is to describe this picture or describe your home, for example, and you have to write 100 words, and it has to be in 6 minutes or 7 minutes or something like that. So again, you could put these two together if you want to, and that just adds a little bit more difficulty. Okay, and task number 3. This is a bigger task. It's probably best to do this with higher level students as well, and it focuses on the topic of movies and cinema. All right, so here's what you're gonna do. First, you're going to get a random word generator. Yeah, send that to your student. Number 2, get a random phrase or a random quote generator. You could find one just going on Google. Send that to your student. Number 2, find a random plot generator, right? And send that to your student. You'll be able to find one if you just go on Google and search for it. So you need a random word generator and a random plot generator, like a plot for a story. Okay, so here's what you do. You start off by showing your student a dialogue, script from a movie, such as Forrest Gump. That's the one that I go with. We read through it just to kind of expose your students a little bit to the language and to kind of get prepared for the coming activity. So as I said, you give them a random word generator, you give them a random plot generator, and then you are going to write a dialogue with your student collaboratively, line by line, and it will be based on the plot. Okay, so you generate a random plot. Maybe it could be you came home and your car is gone. What happens next, right? So you will be one character, your student will be another character, and again, you're going to be going line by line. So your student will write down a line. For example, maybe they are the mother, and then you will write down the line. Imagine that you are the son in this situation, right? And you could be whichever character you want to. Now, where does the random word come in? Well, what we do with the random word, we put it somewhere in the dialogue. That's the game, that's the activity, that's the challenge. It's going to go somewhere in the dialogue, but I don't know where my student is going to put it, and they don't know where I am going to put it, right? So basically, imagine my word is apple. If my word is apple, then I have to put this somewhere in the dialogue without being so obvious about it that the student knows what my word is, what my secret word is, right? So we're practicing writing a dialogue, but we're also trying to find out which word the other person has. What is the secret word? So you could get lucky and you could get a word that fits neatly into the dialogue, which makes it very easy for you to get away with it. So another thing you could do, instead of using a random word generator, you could use a random phrase or a random quote generator, and then it goes a little bit deeper. Typically for me, I set the cap at about 10 lines, so 5 lines each. That means me, my student, me, my student, me, my student. We each write a line at a time. And then at the end, we have to guess what the word or the phrase of the other person is. This activity just came to me one day. I taught quite a few students about movies on iTalki, and it just kind of came to me. And ever since then, I've been using this topic or this activity, and it's been fun, like really interesting. So those are 3 activities that you could use with your students to improve their writing. I really hope you found that useful. As always, thank you for watching, and thank you so much for your support. Hit the subscribe button, and before you leave, check out my Patreon account. By becoming a patron to my account, you could enjoy dozens of resources for as little as $1 USD per month. All you have to do is click to become a patron right here, and you could make a custom pledge for as little as $1 per month. Otherwise, you could choose to join for unlimited access to all of the resources which I have on my account. And that includes weekly uploads of syllabi and different activities and teaching resources to help you be a fantastic teacher on iTalki or whichever platform you teach on. And I would like to say that your support truly helps me to help you and to help the community here on iTalki. So thank you very much for your support. Okay, that's a wrap. Thank you for watching, and keep smiling.